Good morning and happy Saturday. Today is, what is today? Today's, I believe, the 18th of February. It's about 30 degrees outside. The wind is rip-roaring. We have a fresh coat of snow on the ground. We're out doing some tracking today. Much like the other times, I was going to snowshoe today, but I'm looking at the snow depth. Doesn't really justify it, and frankly, I didn't have the patience to put them on today, so we're basically just going to go trudging in the snow and see what we find in the way of tracks. So far, I can already see a bunch of deer tracks in the immediate vicinity. We're looking for something a little bit more exotic today. Hopefully, we'll have some luck, and we'll take things from there. Thanks. Did that sudden turn off and on thing in the cold again, which is annoying because it's not really that cold out. It's about 30 degrees, which for February is actually fairly pleasant. Good day for sunglasses though, because you got a lot of reflectivity off the snow out here. And I'm going to go as far as that stump, because I'm quite literally seeing nothing in the way of tracks out here. And then we will start going towards another area that's one of the, I call it from an aerial standpoint, the tri-bog area. It's a, and technically, if you include the bog way the hell down there, it would be a quad bog, but they're far enough apart. That one's a separate entity to me. That one's actually part of the, if you remember, closer to like the December time frame, I was going towards a couple of bogs that were a little bit to the south of here, and the one that I just pointed at connects to the northern end of those if you do like a 1.5 mile bushwhack through a decent amount of woods, which maybe I'll do soon. Because I haven't been there in the snow when it's this deep. But in the meantime, we're here today, so we're doing this. So we are advancing to the stump, and I literally see nothing in the way of tracks. I see a bunch of little snow impact craters, but this is funny. Let me show you something. This stump has a hole in the middle of it. A perfect part of cartoon woodsy lore is basically the, how shall we say, the thinking stump, if you know what I mean. And this is quintessentially what that is. That is very funny to me. All right, we're going to make our way back to the main trail we came in on. We didn't go that far in, but I don't know if you can see it over there next to the posted sign, but we're on the state land side. But that is the monument that does actually demarcate the Massachusetts-Connecticut line. So we're basically right now about 10 feet over the line. And we're going to take a segment break, and we're going to cover some ground and go in somewhere else where there's maybe actually some tracks to look at, because right here, nothing. So we'll be back in a bit. We are following an older deer trail. I thought this was a trail I thought it was. It probably is not. If it isn't, I'm going to work my way back. I think I walked by a trail I wanted to go down towards a wetland. I think I overshot it though. Yeah, so in here we have deer, if the camera wants to play nice. We have deer trail going off over that way. If the camera stops having lazy eye, I probably have to recalibrate it. And so I think over there we had some, yeah, there's some bowl tracks or some small rodent tracks over there like last week. So quick segment, we're trying to find that trail. We'll come back when we find that. Let's try that again. The camera keeps having technical difficulties, so we're gonna get down to the wetland here real quick, at least so it's off in the distance. Here's another side trail, and then I'm probably gonna call it a day only because this looks like Coyote again, like he did a big loop through here and going that way. So if the camera can keep its wits about it for another freaking, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, we'll maybe call this one defeat. Only because the camera keeps doing it. It's not that cold out either, which is what's making it annoying. So, not really sure where I guess the stream right there kind of announces where the water is versus not. But the Tribog area over here, off in the distance over there, if you can see through that, is the third most. And then if you go up that hill back in there, there's a that's good. That kind of takes you towards the high meadow, kind of where I was snowshoeing last week. Fall of 2 years ago, if you go over in that direction on the other side of the hills, where I found an interesting stretch of 3 different X formations. I'm not normally one to give a lot of credence to things like that because they're fairly common, but they were positioned in such a way that actually kind of made me take notice. Just curious what this this trail right here is, because it's not a deer trail, but it looks again like it's a coyote trail. That right there, if I can, right there, going off towards a wetland again. But all right, we're going to start heading back towards the trail, only because I'm not really trusting the camera that much at this point. It's kind of being a poop. So I just realized it's all uphill on the way back. Awesome. So we'll do that. And then unless we see something interesting on the way back, I may call it here, only because, again, I'm going to have to do some editing due to the camera and its shenanigans. I'm wondering if I have to maybe replace it with a newer one, because it's developed quirks over time. I'll try to... I looked at it last week. I guess last week's video had the auto lean or the auto tilt thing going on, which is also kind of a quirk of it. Might be time to change out the Removu for a newer model. There are newer ones on the market now. So when I get home, maybe I'll do a Amazon related feature comparison. This one versus the newer ones. Some of which are cheaper. But I don't like equipment failures in the field, even though they do happen. I guess that's a topic for discussion. So let's talk about that. Specifically, I'll talk about drone related ones. And this is specific to Vermont. There's an area, at least I just saw a vole go into the snow. In Vermont, in the time frame of late June, early July, and I actually had a video that proved this a while back, where I brought an EF and EMF reader into this area, because it has done weird things to my phone at the time too, forcing you to do a hard reset basically on its own. And it happened twice, 1 year after the other. I just happened to be camping in that same area, same time of year. The second time it happened, it basically formed a pattern. So year 3 came around, and I brought the EMF reader. EMF is electromagnetic fields. EF is strictly electrical. And I, of course, this time around turned the phone off. But I had taken a baseline reading with the EMF reader, or EF reader, with the microwave at home, touching it right to the microwave to get a baseline reading. And I was walking back towards the campsite, usually about where the phone would have its bad day, and the thing went off majorly, and not touching anything, just waving it in the air. So I found an electrical field in there. So one of the weirder failures of equipment I've had is there, where the phone just shut down. I've had iCams get corrupted in there too. Those are the camera-related sunglasses. I had to replace a pair after that because they fried in that area. And the reading that I got was an electrical field, not EMF, it was EF. But the kicker is in the open air, it was a higher reading than the microwave gave off. And to this day, I have no idea what the cause is. I would love to get in there. It's hard to get in there in the winter. Harder now because of COVID and the travel advisory up there, but this is in the middle of an area where the gates are closed. You'd have to get in with a snow machine, but I would be fascinated to see if I could recreate the field rating in the middle of winter, because it's there in the summer three years in a row. It's not like an anomaly that happened once. And nearby there, the first year that the phone failed, I tried flying the drone over a meadow, and the drone, it got in the air, but it would not get out of safety mode, and it almost flew into a stream. There was something wrong, interfering with it. And just a little bit north of there, just this last summer, when I was out with a network member, we went to I call the three-layer beaver pond, and there's a big pond near there. I attempted to fly the drone over that way, and I think I know the cause for this one. The drone would not go beyond a point over the three-layer pond. The other pond is just the big pond beyond. I kind of jokingly call it that, but it wouldn't go over there. And the theory being, this part of the country, Green Mountains and the White Mountains as well, have magnetic ore in the ground. And when I was first there with my original research group, I'm going to say 2000, maybe 2009, no, it's 2012, the two-way radios were, they'd work when they want to, but there was something interfering with them too. And there's the area that we were hiking through. Since then, I have had interference with the Mavic Mini, and yet not the Mavic Spark, which, I'm sorry, the DJI Spark. The difference is the Spark operates off of regular Wi-Fi, whereas the Mini uses an OTG cable. And somewhere in the difference of those two mechanisms, one will fly there, the other one won't. So there are things in the area that will prevent your drone from getting airborne, or if it's getting airborne, going beyond a point, because it just won't. There's something in that area that interferes with the GPS signal by way of OTG cable, which, from what I've read, is supposed to be the stronger signal. So that area does have some weirdness to it. It does kind of live up to the folklore. Anyway, we're back at the main trail. We're going to start walking out, and unless I find something interesting, given the fact the camera is having a little bit of an attitude, although it behaved itself on the way back here, I'm going to tentatively call it here and start making my way back. And maybe I'll do an outro as I get closer to the car, but we're going to take a segment break at least. We'll be back maybe.